Guys, we have a big breaking news coming out when it comes to nation against nation and kingdom against kingdom. US president open to drug strike on Mexico and Colombia. So it's not only Venezuela, but it seems like there's multiple countries on the target list. Colombia, Mexico, and Venezuela. Alright guys, before I start, for those of you that want to send us letters, prayer requests, you can send it to me, US Santiago, or my wife Jessica Santiago at 3432 US Highway 19, number 2, Holiday, Florida 34691. We are definitely seeing a lot of nation against nation news happening today. I just posted one not too long ago about Belarus and nuclear weapons. Also, Lithuania declares state of emergency. So you got some NATO and some other countries like Putin allies sounding the alarm. And now we're going to go with this one here. This is the U.S. backyard, the Caribbeans. All right. So U.S. president has said he would consider expanding his military campaign against drug targets in countries such as Mexico and Colombia. Since September, the U.S. president has authorized several strikes in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific Ocean on small Venezuelan boats accused of ferrying drugs, as well as large buildup of U.S. naval forces in the region. In an interview with Political's Dasha Burns, U.S. president was asked if he would consider expanding strike against target in other countries with high drugs trade activity, such as Mexico and Colombia. Sure, I would, Donald said. So here's the thing, guys. Colombia and Mexico, they pretty big, when it comes to those drug. A lot of people were shocked when it came to Venezuela. Now, I believe Venezuela, yes, it could be related, connected to the drug stuff, but I believe Venezuela is more when it comes to oil. All right, so keep your eyes on Guyana. That's right next to Venezuela. Guyana is, when it comes to Exxon, oil and stuff like that. So I do believe Venezuela has a lot to do with oil. But Mexico and Colombia, those are like the big ones when it comes to drugs. So we are definitely seeing something here, guys. It says here, the U.S. President administration says the military has taken out at least 80, oh man, the numbers went up, 87 people in 22 known strikes in the Caribbean Sea and Eastern Pacific Ocean since early September. Now, the Associated Press reported. Now, the U.S. president has justified the strike as a necessary escalation to stem the flow of drugs into the United States, saying the U.S. is engaged in an armed conflict with the gangs. And look, a lot of people might not know this, but these gangs are very powerful. During Barack, there was a lot of very powerful equipments that were given to these gangs. And it's like an army. They walk around with some very, very powerful equipment that belongs to us. And again, these gangs are very powerful. Very powerful. And they made millions of dollars just bringing their stuff in. And they just, a lot of people don't know that, but they are very powerful. It says here, expanding strikes to target in other countries risk harming diplomatic relations with those countries, provoking political backlash, and shifting U.S. drug policy towards far more aggressive actions. Now, we don't know when Donald's going to give that green light, but there's been a lot of information that there's a lot of signs that an imminent strike is underway. So there was a video that was released not too long ago. U.S. soldiers landed in Puerto Rico. All right, so you have a whole bunch of U.S. soldiers out there. And the same day, Venezuela released a video. Their military prepared. The expanded U.S. military presence near Venezuela has fueled speculation about how those forces could be employed. Now, Venezuelan leader Nicolas has insisted the real purpose of the military operation is to force him from office. Well, that too, because the U.S. don't recognize him as leader. All right, so multiple countries around the world don't recognize him as leader. Russia, Iran, China, they recognize him as leader. Here's the thing too, guys. A few days ago, there was a video of Nicholas. He just going around and dancing, and he's just having a good time. I wouldn't say he's mocking Donald. He's just basically telling Donald, we want peace. We don't want war. Let us just live life here. It says in an interview with Burns, U.S. president refused to rule out putting American boots on the ground in Venezuela to bring about the end of Nicholas' regime. I don't want to rule in or out. I don't talk about it, he said about a possible ground invasion, adding that he didn't want to speak with the outlet about military strategy. I don't blame Donald. Stuff like that, tight-lipped, because the enemy are listening. So again, I could understand Donald when it comes to that part. But boots on the ground, yeah, it just, I mean, we're talking about Venezuela here, all right? So there's going to be some crazy, military that's going to, again, they're not going to back down. Also, U.S. is not going to back down, but it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. Give me a second here, guys. There was an issue with the OBS. I don't know what happened. Okay, so it says here, Donald declined to say if he wanted to force Nicholas from office, but said his days are numbered. All right, so it's common sense. His days are numbered. Donald don't recognize him as as leader of Venezuela. So he's basically saying he ain't gonna be the leader for long. I'm giving him all these chances and stuff. I'm giving him time to exile, to go somewhere far, like really far, like somewhere out there in the Red Sea, out there in Qatar. All right, so asked about his goal in Venezuela, the U.S. commander said he wanted the people of Venezuela to be treated well, adding, I want the people of Venezuela, many of whom live in the United States, to be respected. All right. And look, we want to see peace out there. We want to see peace in the Americas. South America, I've been to South America many times, and I want to see this country. I mean, I've been to Ecuador many times, Peru. Very nice people out there. But again, they need, when it comes to leadership, they need something better, and better jobs, being, good pay and stuff like that. Because again, it's a third world country, and it's really hard. And they got to sleep with one eye open and one eye closed because you got those gangs out there. I mean, they're just snatching whatever they see. Donald recently warned that any country producing these products could face U.S. military strikes, prompting a response from Colombia's president, Gustavo. Gustavo invited Donald to visit the country to participate in the destruction of the 9 laboratories we do daily to prevent these products from reaching the U.S. Man, you guys know Colombia is like one of the biggest one, especially during the time of Pablo Escobar. I don't know if you guys seen the movie Blow featuring Johnny Depp. That movie is based on a true story, just like American Gangster with starring Denzel Washington. It says here, meanwhile, the right and the left lawmakers have urged the U.S. commander to seek war powers authority from Congress for operation against the drug gangs. Now, Chuck is trying to put a stop to it. He's telling Donald, you're not going to drag us into war. Well, Chuck, tell that to the millions of Sleeping Giant families that lost the young ones from these products that's been pouring into our country under your watch. What have you guys done to stop these products from coming in? Millions of sleeping giants were taken out. And you guys, not my problem. You guys supposed to take care of the sleeping giant citizens, not, feed them poison. I'm not saying you guys fed them poison, but you allowed the enemy to feed them poison. It says here last week, you have the left. You have Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine. I haven't heard that name in a while. Hold on, Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine. Tim Kaine. Is that the one that Hillary chose for VP during 2016 against Donald? It was Tim Kaine, right? So Tim Kaine of Virginia and Chucky, we were just talking about Chuck, of New York, and look at this dude, man, Adam, man, of California, and you have the right. Rand Paul of Kentucky filed a resolution to force a congressional vote on the issue of the administration carries out a strike within Venezuela. It came after the U.S. commander said strikes on land will be taking place very soon. Wow. So that's what Donald said, that there will be strikes soon. And what happened? Those individuals that I just mentioned, these people came out, including Rand Paul, and they came together to put a stop on Donald, saying you're not gonna do anything. You're not going to go and start a war out there in our backyard. Here's the thing, guys. What would you do in order to stop the trending, the flow of all these products coming into our land? What would you do? If you were commander, what would you do? Because here's the thing, guys. Again, there's at least 50, maybe 70,000 a year sleeping giant citizens are passing away. So what people are saying? Well, the U.S. commander said in an interview with Politico, those boats come in largely from Venezuela. They send really, really bad individuals into our country. They've done it better than anybody else. They empty their prisons into our country, and these prisoners are seriously tough. It's true. You guys know under Joe, what happened last year in Colorado? Colorado. What happened? Well, you had the gangs that came from that country. They took over apartment complex. And there's a camera inside those apartment complex, and it shows like all these individuals with GUN, and it was like maybe 15 of them, and they were knocking on people's door, collecting rent. I mean, they came from the prison of that country. That's what Donald's trying to put a stop to. Now, of course, the governor or the mayor, they say, we don't see nothing wrong here. Are you blind? There's the video. You see these individuals with GUN. You don't see anything wrong with that? And not only that, but they spread out throughout the entire sleeping giant country. Joe let them in throughout his term. You got Rand Paul of Kentucky said in a statement last week, the sleeping giant citizens do not want to be dragged into endless war with Venezuela without public debate or a vote. We out to defend what the Constitution demands, the liberation before war. Rand Paul, I like you, dude. I like you. But this one here, I don't like you, man. Here's the thing, guys. Thousands are being taken out. How do you stop these lawlessness from bringing their product in? I live in Florida. All right, Florida is like the #1 state. They come in by boats. You know how many stuff is being unloaded? Stuff that could take out millions of sleeping giant citizens? Do people don't see that? Come to Florida. Go to Miami. Go to Miami. Stay out there on the beach and see how many boats are coming in and unloading these products. It's very sad because a lot of people are not seeing the real truth of what's really going on. Kostas Panagopoulos, a professor of political science at Northeastern University, told Newsweek, sleeping giant citizens have limited appetites for military conflict. Extended conflict could backfire on Donald, especially if there is a domestic resistance, meaningful retaliation, or if service members are out. Okay, so I guess in other words, let those people bring in the product. They're not doing anything bad. Yes, thousands are being taken out every year, but just let them bring their product in. They're making millions of dollars. They're not hurting no one. They're making a lot of money. They're not hurting anyone. We don't want no war. Just let them bring their product in, and yeah. So I guess we should just keep it like that. Just keep it like that. Let them just bring their stuff in. Make them more powerful. Millions of dollars, and they're creating a huge army with that profit, the product that they're selling. They're using that profit to build an army, and eventually, Sleeping Giant, you will be invaded, and you had the time to stop them. You had the time to stop them, but again, you had these weak individuals, Rand Paul and all them. They want to put a stop to Donald. No war. Well, again, these groups are gonna get stronger and stronger, and eventually they're gonna invade the Sleeping Giant. It says here, my sense is that the Sleeping Giant citizens would rather see Donald focus on lowering prices and affordability. Yes, I agree with that one. I agree with that one. The cost of living is too high and stuff like that. But again, we still need to put a stop to these products coming in. Anything short of this could be viewed as a disconnect or as a distraction and could cement the narrative that Donald is unable to deliver on the top issue voters elected him to address. Military conflict often don't go as planned, spiraling out of control in unanticipated or unintended ways, and could spell disaster for any administration that fails to manage them effectively. It is a real risk for any commander, let alone someone with historically low levels of public approval. What are your thoughts on this here, guys? I'm going to leave the rest of this here, but what are your thoughts? So how do you stop them? How do you stop them? Because they keep bringing the product. They're going to get stronger. They use that money, and they post a video. You wouldn't believe the uniform they have. Camouflage. They became a new army. And they have these armored vehicles. I mean, they just becoming this powerful army. And they're getting stronger and stronger by selling their product in our Sleeping Giant country. So how do you stop them? Because if nothing is done, they're going to get stronger. And then one day, they will come knocking on our door. And we're not going to be prepared. A lot of people is going to be like, well, we should have had Donald do something. We kind of stopped them. Donald has warned to expand the strike to any country producing these products, but it remains to be seen if that happens. And that's where we're at right now, guys. So we don't know when Donald is going to strike those regions. All we know is that military are out there. The latest information, well, again, is this one here, but some soldiers, US soldiers, landed in Puerto Rico. And we are definitely seeing Nicholas dancing like he never danced before. I'm like, why is this dude dancing so much? Anyway, guys, this is where we at. Like, subscribe, and share. The Sleeping Giant needs to be protected. And again, no more poison entering Sleeping Giant. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you all. Till next time later. Peace.